Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and welcome to my first 100 days in Minecraft Bedrock video. My plan for these 100 days is essentially to just build the best base I possibly can in this spruce forest here. I won't be doing much adventuring, won't be trying to beat the Ender Dragon or anything. I'm just challenging myself to build the best starter base I possibly can in 100 days, so I do have a goal of not dying, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I actually just recently discovered that you can check your day count in Minecraft Bedrock. I always thought it was so much harder than this, but if you hop into creative mode, you can take a peek. So I'll be playing this in survival mode on hard, but I'll be hopping into a creative copy quite often just to keep track of my days. I'll also be doing some planning and stuff over there as well. So yeah, we're just gonna jump into this day one adventure here, which is always fun. Actually, part of the reason I'm doing this type of video is just because I really enjoy early game Minecraft. This isn't a world I'm planning on continuing after this or anything. I've got a current survival Let's Play world that will always be the one that I go back to and work towards the end game in. I've got lots of ideas in that world that I want to accomplish, but I think breaking off and doing something like this every now and then will just be a fun way to scratch that early game itch and just to change things up a little bit. So I hope to do it a few more times, just trying to build in different types of areas and give myself different challenges and that kind of thing. But so yeah, when I was seed hunting, I got a pretty good idea of the general surrounding area. I knew I had a village out this direction, which I thought would be a good place to spend day one. So I got some food on the way, and then I'm pretty much just going to be raiding this village to fill my inventory best I can with useful items to bring with me to the base area. As a general rule, I'm going to be trying to work through the nights the best I can just to be efficient with my days, at least until I kind of figure out how long everything's going to take. So yeah, this first night I decided to go mob hunting to try to get a head start on some levels here. Doing some gathering while I was at it. And we made it through the night. Continued gathering a few things the next morning, and then spent the whole next day making my way towards the base area. And when I saw this mountain, I knew I was getting close. But I was feeling vulnerable traveling without any armor or anything, so I decided to sleep through the night here, which I will do on a few of these early nights. Finally made it to our base area here, and I love me a good taiga forest. It's actually always been one of my favorite types of biomes, and I think this is a particularly cool one here. Got these cool little lakes here, and nice thick forest and big mountain as a backdrop, so I think it's a really cool area. Kind of got a vision in mind. My main plan is to have a treehouse kind of as my main base up in this area up here, and then gonna kind of have the farms behind me wrapping around and dropping down this little hill here. But got lots to do before we get doing that, starting by heading up into this mountain and getting some iron and coal. Get a nice view of the base area from up here. And like I said, just for these first few nights, I will be sleeping through the night just for safety reasons, but I will be staying up most of the time just to try to make the most out of all of my days, but nice successful mining trip. A little more than a stack of iron here and lots of coal. Get things started. Feeling pretty good about it. I spend this whole next day chopping trees, just kind of clearing my area out a little bit. Once I had enough iron smelted, I went ahead and created my first set of iron armor, which felt pretty good, feeling a lot safer. Then I spent that whole night lighting up the base area best I could. Got a pretty big area lit up, fighting off some mobs. But yeah, I got things lit up pretty well, so I should be able to start kind of staying up through the nights as long as I'm working in this general area. But I went ahead and slept this one just to get rid of the rain. Then I kind of got in a pattern of chopping trees during the daylight, and then at nighttime I was working on a combination of my mine and my starter hidey hole here. I was doing pretty good on the trees at this point, so I just spent the next couple days really working on this area here. Give me a nice little place to live for the start. Spent a lot of this night transferring items from my area down here, getting a little bit organized. And then just kept on going. I wasn't planning on putting this much into this project when I started it, but I'm glad I did. I think it's looking pretty cool. It would be cool to have in the background here, and it would be a nice place for me to kind of lay my head for these first days. Actually, ends up being a lot of the 100 days. But yeah, considering it's a mine, I thought I'd work my way down, try to get to level negative 58, but I came across this huge cavern here, and I didn't feel like messing with it, so headed back to the top and got going on a new project, kind of getting the roads laid out, which I think is a super important part of your base. I like to do it early, really gives you inspiration on where to lay things out and just kind of have a plan. Doing some terraforming as well, just getting the area ready for my farms. Filling this hole was probably the biggest of the projects. Get a nice border going on the road here, and then just put a bunch of work into making it all more traversable. I'm feeling pretty good about my progress here, but I was going to need a whole bunch of wood, so I spent the whole next day chopping trees. And I came back and started laying out the plots for my different crops, just surrounding with some birch wood here. And I think it's looking pretty cool. And the fun, tedious task of getting the land all hydrated. Then I was unfortunately reminded that you can't till podzol. So I had to make a big project digging a bunch of that up and replacing it with dirt. And this area down here I really regretted because I ended up changing it right after I did all this. You'll see in a second. Then I got tilling all the land here, which ended up being quite a bit of work. But it looks good and it was nice to have done. Then I was given a friendly reminder by the phantoms that I am going to have to sleep every few nights just to keep them away. This time they almost got me. That second one came in, surprised me, but I got to the bed in time. Yeah, I think our land all tilled up, ready for crops. I'm excited about my farm area here. I do like to go around with slabs just to make it easier to get up and down, and it makes it so that those crops don't get trampled. When I got planting a few crops I had, we'll have to be multiplying them as I go. Then down here I dug up all this dirt again to make it an area for sugarcane, since it was a nice flat area. Unfortunately, I only have 4 to get things started. But for day 18, I'm really happy with my progress here. I wouldn't have imagined I would have this much done for my farm area at this point. So I am missing carrots though, and I knew of another village out this direction, so I thought I'd make the trek. Went ahead and raided the village best I could. Not a whole bunch of use, but the carrots were worth the trip. As well as I got a bunch of sand and some sandstone while I was out here. And chopped a bunch of trees on the way back. And I found that as long as you're fast, traveling is a good way to spend nights rather than sleeping away that half of the day. Got back and planted my carrots and got making things looking a little better. I spent another day up in the mountains mining. Then I went back down to the mines for a couple days, still on that mission for -58. Grabbing some granite on the way. Yeah, the cavern was making it tough, but this was a easier place to drop in, and found a lush cave, which is nice to have handy. But yeah, I thought I'd just drop in here, brought me all the way down, and just dig into the wall at -58 and started going straight. Nice to get a few resources, and I came across a couple sizable diamond veins, which is nice. Went ahead and made a diamond pick while I was down there so I could get some obsidian just to have for another portal and enchanting table. And I made my way back up, day 23, and I'm finally going to get going on my base. Had to clear out a few trees I had planted first, and now I'm just going to kind of get out of the way and let you enjoy the building. Take a quick step back, and as far as the size of the building goes, I'm feeling like I'm liking it. Now just putting in work, making it pretty. And roofs are always a very important part of any build. Usually one of the biggest grinds as well, but definitely well worth it. Always feels good to get done. I do like to do a medieval roof, tends to be my favorite kind of roof to do. Although I am realizing it's starting to kind of look like my starter base on my survival Let's Play, which if you haven't watched, go ahead and check out. But it does start to separate itself as we go here. I think it's looking good though. But yeah, to lay the roof, I'm going to need a whole bunch of cobble deep slate. Unfortunately, I decided I needed to swap the deep slate out on the wings of the house here, so that was a little bit of extra work. But I decided that I was going to go with a full tile roof, so I just think the spruce looked a lot better. And yeah, roofs, it's very easy to underestimate how much materials they use. They use the most material on a build, at least these kind of builds. But I think it's looking good. I'm liking the tile roof here. And I went ahead and added a couple more trees for support, make it make a little more sense. And then just got back to work. I'm really liking how it's coming together here. But unfortunately, I lost a couple days of recording here. And if you look at my levels, you can see that I passed away, sadly. And I'm really disappointed I lost the footage because it was quite the glorious baby zombie chase. So, kind of disappointing. But other than that, I really didn't get too much done on these days. I was mainly chopping some trees and clearing out what was going to be my animal farm area, but I ended up moving it. But jumping back into the footage we got, I was out gathering animals. My first animals, day 36 in my world. So obviously I'm just going about things a little different in this, but this was actually quite a bit of work. They were hard to find. I had to go pretty far. Chopped down a bunch of birch because I was spending my night starting to get some shape to the fences of our fields down here. Doing a little terraforming while I'm at it. And then went back out looking for animals again, and the sheep were easy enough to find, but the pigs took forever. Shows you really gotta grab them when you see them early on, which I usually do, but I was just going about things different here. But it is nice. We now have at least a pair of all the animal types. Started adding some oak to the fences down here just to give a little variation. That's how I spent a few of my nights. And I think it's looking pretty good. Spent another day up in the mountain gathering iron and coal until I was given a friendly reminder that I needed to sleep. I made my way back to the base. First time getting a good look from up here at nighttime especially. And I'm really liking how it's looking down there. Went ahead and slept the phantoms away, and then this was the day I kind of had the epiphany that I'd rather do my animal farm down here in this area, be a little closer to my base, and it would actually be part of the thumbnail. Just better all around. So I got clearing some trees, giving me some space to work. Got the area lit up so I can work through the nighttime. And I'm actually going to build the barn going into this wall here. It's another style of build that I just like to do. Building into the wall makes things easier. And I think that's going to look good. I like the shape there. kind of extending the land a little bit so I got space for the animals. Then I decided I was going to do a waterfall coming down the hill here, and I think it ends up being a really cool addition to the area. Got to manipulate the water to make it do what you want it to, but I think it's coming out looking really good. I'm really glad I decided to do this. Even more glad because it inspired me to dig out behind it and have it be my spot for my enchanting setup and all of that. Give the waterfall a little bit of purpose. But yeah, I think it's really got potential to come out and be a great addition to the area. But to do an enchanting setup, I'm going to need a bunch of leather, and I haven't been breeding cows at all, so I spent the night up there bringing them down to the base area down here so I can start breeding them. And got going on my sugarcane as well. Another night, adding some shape to the fences down here. And I think they're coming out looking really cool. But then I was digging out the area for the barn here, and I kind of realized that the last important thing that I need to build and have a spot for is my Nether portal. So kind of got sidetracked, started doing that. First I needed to go down and get a bunch more obsidian because I wanted to make a fairly big Nether portal. Ended up getting way more than I needed though. Definitely wasted some time. But I thought this little spot here would be a really cool spot for portal. Kind of off to the side, but towering over the lake. Got a nice little rock base down. And I got placing the obsidian. I could have gone bigger. I had the obsidian to do it, but I think this ended up being a good size. Went ahead and lit it and was feeling a wild hair and just jumped right in. I didn't even plan out anything, and I kind of regretted it right away when I saw the soul sand here and knew I was in a soul sand valley. It very easily could have been a bunch of skeletons, but I got lucky. Jumped back in and got back home, and I'll be honest, that's the only time I go to the Nether this whole 100 days. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to take you with me here while I hop into a creative copy here. I've been doing this all the way throughout, keep track of my days, and also just to get this view I'm working towards. Obviously, if you saw the thumbnail, my whole vision is making as cool a thumbnail as I can, so I keep coming here and just kind of visualizing and planning things out. And I think for day 45, we're looking better than I would have imagined. I wouldn't have thought I'd have this much done in 45 days, I'll be honest. So yeah, how you look it up, by the way, is just type into chat /time Curie day, and then you'll see in the top left it tells you what day you're on. So yeah, many years wishing I could know my day count in Bedrock, and I just discovered that. But I think for day 45, and we've already got our place planned out like this, we're ahead of the schedule. So I decided to go on an adventure that I wasn't really planning on. I did go ahead and look this up in chunk base. I didn't want to waste a whole bunch of time looking for biomes and not finding them. So I'll be honest, I went to chunk base, but it was over 6,000 blocks away to get where exactly I wanted to go. And I did find this dark oak forest on the way, which I thought I was going to have to go a lot more off path for the dark oak forest. So that was a nice find. But yeah, like I said, very long trip here, but it was kind of fun to get away from the base. Huge trip across the ocean, and before I knew it, I came up on some acacia wood and some jungle wood, so it's going to be nice to get in the inventory. Kept on traveling through the night. And gathering through the night. Still trying to be efficient with my days. So I'm trying to make this trip be the shortest I possibly can. Found a real cool river through the jungle here. Rivers in Minecraft nowadays are just so cool. When they made that update, I think very underrated how cool the rivers are now compared to what it used to be. But yeah, I got to the mesa, got some cactus and some dead bushes and a bunch of terracotta. And after all this traveling, I see my first village here. Got sidetracked and decided to see what the temple had. And actually, bones are the most valuable thing to me right now out of all of this. With the way I'm playing here, I don't have a skelly grinder or anything, so I'm gonna want some bone meal. I go through the village as well. Not too much to be found. There was another temple with a bunch more bones, though. That was nice. Come over the hill here and you see the mangrove forest, which is what I came over here for, but it ends up being a really cool little bay. You've actually got 5 different wood types and the coral underneath. Really cool spot. One thing that's not cool is gathering mangrove wood. And I got me a nice little stack of it. Went ahead and slept that night to keep the phantoms away and the mobs away, since I was going to be gathering mud under all the mangrove trees. Feeling pretty good about my inventory. I had forgotten a couple things in the jungle I'll pick up on the way back. Really cool mesa river here with this cliff on the side and the rock formations here. Another really cool river. But yeah, I grabbed some melon and some cocoa beans on the back and slowly but surely made my way home. And that was quite the trek. It always feels good to see your base on the way home after a long adventure like that, which I'm glad I made it. Got an inventory full of a bunch of stuff I didn't have before, and it only took 5 days. I thought it might have taken longer to travel that far and back and do all the gathering, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good for where we're at day 50. I already got the whole base pretty much laid out and everything where I want it, so pretty much got 50 days just to try to make things look better, starting with the barn down here. First, we'll swap the oak out for mangrove, which I think just does look a lot better. And just put in a bunch of work. I did unfortunately lose the main clip of me decorating the face of the barn here, but you'll see it soon enough. Did a bunch of terraforming as well, make the land make a little more sense. Spent a bunch of time clearing the fields and then got back to work just flushing the barn out, getting it ready to bring some animals in, making it look a little better. Came up here to start bringing my animals down and I realized that a fox had murdered my chickens. So I'll have to find some chickens, but we did get the pigs and the sheep. And brought a couple cows in here just to have a pair. Then that night I was putting the roof on and playing with my headphones off, which is a mistake I make way too often. And I got caught by surprise by this super powerful zombie who brought me from full health to 0 on 4 hits. And it looked like he just had a regular shovel. So I thought that was kind of crazy. but my own fault for playing with my headphones off. Went down and got my stuff, and yeah, now you can see the face of the barn. I think we got it looking really cool here. And got the inside looking better. Went around and started placing some greenery. And I realized I was going to need a bunch of wooden leaves, so I spent a day out in the forest and got placing some leaves. And once I started doing that, I kept on doing that for quite a while. But they really do a good job of bringing an area to life. Went ahead and slept that night, get the rain away, and I went crazy with the leaves. Then I started rockifying my cliffs a little bit here. Went ahead and swapped these bricks out with deep slate bricks just so it would contrast with the cobblestone a little bit better. And yeah, I've definitely been putting in the work with the leaves here and getting the cliffs going, and I wasn't done. Definitely a few days worth of work down here. But I do think it's making a big difference. Definitely getting a little livelier. So much I was gonna need to get a bunch more leaves and just keep doing the same thing. Get all the fences covered. And I went around the cliffs and started using some stone stairs just to give a little texture variant and shape variant. I think it really helped. Got some leaves going on them as well, which looked really good. But at this point, when I stepped back, I felt I might have overdone it a little bit, so I spent a little time trimming back a little bit, mainly just kind of off the tops of the fences. I just want the fences to be nice and visible still. But slept the night away and spent the next day gathering a few things, mainly granite, because I was going to need a whole bunch of that, because now we're just going to get making the house look a little better. I'm just going to get out of the way and let you enjoy. I'm really liking how it came out here. Definitely looking a lot more inviting. But I do like to add some texture, so I spent 2 whole days and nights doing that here. Texturing can be a lot of work, and I know some people don't really see the value in it, but I definitely do. I just think it makes things look a lot better. We'll get working on this interior here pretty quickly, but I need to spend a few days just doing a few chores, so spend some time farming my fields, take a trip up into the mountains. I needed to restock on iron and coal. Nice little mountain sunset while I was up there. Got my iron smelting, and then I was going to need a bunch of clay as well, so I went down to the lush cave that we found here and got a few things while I was here. Take a second to admire this humongous cave we have. It's one of the bigger caves I've ever seen. Really cool. I know you probably can't see it very well on YouTube, but very big. Made our way back up to the top here. Grabbed our iron out of the smelter and traded it for some clay, which I'll be needing here momentarily. But for now, I went down to the animal area and really got working on breeding my cows up and my sheep. Definitely been slacking in this department so far. While I was down here, I kept busy doing things off to the side while I was waiting for them to be ready to breed again. So it was a pretty productive time. Got the path inside the barn looking a little cooler, and worked out the path going under the waterfall where I'll have the enchanting area, and did some texturing on the stone, and mainly just kept breeding the cows and the sheep and getting some wool. Once again reminded that I needed to sleep the night away. And at this point, I was ready to start attacking the interior of the house here. So, like I did before, I'm just going to kind of get out of the way and let you enjoy the process. I really enjoy doing interiors. I think the color scheme of the bedroom just looks really cool during the sunrise here. And obviously it's a simple setup. I'll probably come back and do a little more, and I'll come in with some carpets and stuff and bring things to life, but I think it's a good start on things. Definitely can say I got an interior done. So now on to the working on the next area that we need to bring some life to, and that's the Nether portal. I was originally planning on doing like a rock formation type around it, but then I decided a big stump would make sense being in the spruce forest here. I'm glad I've been collecting a bunch of spruce wood this whole time, even though I do plan on needing a whole bunch later as well, and this really took up some spruce wood. But in the end, I'm really glad I did go this route. I think it ended up just looking really good. And as always, bring a little life to it with the greenery. And I think it's looking really cool. I spent that night replacing some of the spruce I just used because, like I said, I am going to need a whole bunch here before too long. Then I decided I better knuckle down and get going on my enchantment setup here. So I got a bunch of wheat, did one last feeding of the cows, and then it was slaughter time. Nice being set up with food and leather at this point, and I had plenty of sugarcane over here, so I was able to make the shelves and get going on the setup back here behind the waterfall. I don't go too fancy, but I think it's looking cool. And I do like the idea of being behind the waterfall. If I have time in the end, I'll come back and make this look a little better, but I think it's looking good for now. I'm trying to work my way down a list of a few things I want to get done for sure. And the next on the list was some lamp posts, so spent a day working on that. And lamp posts are another thing that I think people really sleep on. Like, a lot of times I procrastinate on doing them, but I always feel like once I do them, it's another step of getting your base really feeling established. I just think they look really good. There is one thing that I haven't got going on this base yet that's definitely essential for a starter base, and that's a tree chopping area. I haven't really designated one yet because I wasn't planning on getting all the tree types, but now that I have them, besides cherry wood, but I just don't plan on using that. But now that I have them, I'm gonna turn what was gonna be the animal barn area into kind of the tree farm. So put in some work over here. Got a nice path laid out. Did a bunch of terraforming, and I'm just gonna have a forest of random trees. Just gonna plant all the different tree types here. I think it'll actually end up being kind of cool. Even though we're pretty late in the 100 days here and I won't really be using it, just for the principle of having a tree farm at your starter base. Then I got placed a bunch of greenery around using my bone meal. Put some azaleas by the waterfall, which I think look really good. Then I got trading the path out here down by the animal barn. I would do the whole thing, but that's just going to be a lot of work and a lot of days that I don't want to spend on doing that. But I thought it'd be good just to get this area down here at least. And this is my first time making a path with these clay blocks here, and I think they look really good. I will be remembering that for the future for sure. But yeah, extended it back into the enchanting area here, and I think we got this area down here looking pretty good. And coming into this 100 days project, I did not think I would end up having time to do custom trees, but here I am on day 81, and I've got enough time to get some trees done here. And custom trees are another one of my favorite things to do, and I think something that people kind of sleep on, but They really do a lot to bring a base together, especially with a treehouse. I had to do custom trees for a treehouse, so I've kind of got my way. I like to do spruce trees. I slowly let the trunk get thinner as I go up and then start extending branches out by one more block as I work my way down, but I usually try not to fall. That was unfortunate. Obviously thought I was crouching, but that's just a risk you take doing these types of builds sometimes. But yeah, like I said, I just work my way down with the branches, extending one more block every level I drop, and then I cover each branch on the sides and the top with leaves, and then you end up getting a nice, interesting shaped tree, as long as you have your branches kind of going at different random angles and stuff, and nice round base area. So I think it's looking good. A lot of people might not think it makes that big of a difference, but it really does, especially close up. But I was running out of spruce wood, so I got chopping a few of these tall trees over here that have been blocking my view and annoying me anyway. Then I got going on the tree to the right hand side from that view out there for the thumbnail. And the trees are definitely lots of work, at least a couple days and nights each. But that's better than it used to be. It used to be a lot longer than that for me to make a tree, so not too bad. Got covering all the branches, working my way up with this one. And in the end, I think it's looking really good as well. It's nice having the custom trees for the treehouse here. Then just for the sake of time, considering that this video is already getting pretty long, I'm going to go ahead and skip the few days of me working on the 2 more trees for the front of the house. But we got those done, so now every tree for the house is all a custom tree, and I think it definitely looks better than it did. So I didn't think I was going to have time for that, let alone did I think I was going to have time for a windmill. I figure I got 10 days left here, so I'm going to try to squeeze a windmill in. Again, not going to go too fancy here, but I think it'll be a great addition. So I start by extending the land out a little bit and doing some terraforming, making it make sense. And then I just got going on the windmill here. Ended up going a little taller than I meant to, but I ended up keeping it, and I think it ended up looking all right. Kind of inspired me to do a nice big blade anyway, so it might have been cooler in the long run. And nowadays I don't really like to use trapdoors for my blades because they don't render once you get far away, but for this situation I'm staying so close anyway all the time that I just went with them. And yeah, textured it out and worked on the surrounding area a little bit, made the nice cliff a little rockier, and a couple tulip fields right below. I think it ends up looking really good. Nothing too fancy at all. Obviously this is where I would store the bulk of my crops and all that, but I think it's looking really cool, and I like how the color scheme matches the house. So I've got a few things in mind I want to get done these last few days here. I know it's going to require some serious birch, so I spent a day out in the woods. And then I came back and got working on the path connecting to the Nether portal from the mine. I think it ends up looking really good. It really feels like it extends the base out quite a bit, which I like that. Then I spent a day down gathering wool and getting different colors of wool so that I could place a few carpets. I didn't end up getting a nice another detail session done on the interiors, but carpets add a little bit. I would have liked to get a little more done on the interiors. That's the only thing I kind of slacked on. But I spent a bunch of time texturing the fences a little bit with some birch. And I think it makes quite a big difference as well. And then just rapid fire, I Just finishing a few things, making the road easier to traverse. Do some lamp posts, make this area look a little better. I thought this would look better for the windmill rather than having all the plain birch. And then just place some leaves, final leaves and texturing around. Got some flowers in for the waterfall. And here I am going to sleep for the last time on this 100-day challenge. And I've really enjoyed this. Definitely a different way of playing I've never played before, just having that time limit and kind of an end point, which Minecraft doesn't have. And I've really liked it, especially doing the YouTube thing and having it documented. It's really cool. But yeah, I am very proud of myself here. I did not think I would get this much done. If you would have told me I would have gotten this much done, I wouldn't have believed you. I think I got a really cool base here for 100 days. And yeah, I thought it'd be fun to kind of go around at ground level here, just take a final peek at things. And I think the Nether portal ended up really cool. If it were a long-term world, I'd make that a huge tree. And I might do that sometime somewhere else, but I think overall everything's just looking really cool. The farm area down here came out really nice. I know the fences aren't too fancy or anything, but I think the brightness and the thickness just really make them stand out and pop. And then I think even though I didn't use this at all and it came really late, I think just doing a little mishmash of trees for a nice big tree cut in forest, kind of a cool idea. But the main event, definitely the treehouse here, which I think came out looking really good. And I think the trees really helped as well. I wish I would have done a little more with the front yard entryway here, but that's all right. Same for the interior. I got a lot done for sure, but I would have liked to flesh it out a little bit more, but I think it's looking pretty cool. Definitely a good start on things. Funny enough, I really didn't live in here at all. Next time I'll move in a little earlier. But I think it came out looking cool. And then the windmill at the end, which I did not think I was going to have time for to get in here, and that was just kind of a throw in there in the last few days, and I think it really brings things together. Pretty simple design here, but I like the color scheme and everything just looks good. I like this path. I'll be taking that into different worlds, and I like our barn here. I didn't ever end up getting another chickens or more chickens or a horse, but I got a spot for them. And then the waterfall I think came out really good. I would like to detail that a little more as well, but cool little enchanting area here. And yeah, I thought it'd be cool to jump into a creative copy of the world one last time. Give you a nice bird's eye view again so you can see how things really got fleshed out when I showed you about halfway through, and just the power of detailing. I guess I didn't show you the mine when I was doing the ground level walk. This is where I've been living the whole time. Nothing too fancy here, but it held my stuff. Yeah. Oop. Here we go. Nice bird's eye view. And like I said, I got a lot more done than I really thought I would have. I think next time I challenge myself, I'm actually going to try to do a little less, not spread so wide, and try to keep things a little more compact and detailed. But that being said, I don't regret how I went about this. I think it looks really good. And just show you, I've been on track with my days. Do a little day check here. Right at 100. So yeah, with that, just want to say I appreciate you all for coming. Definitely those of you who've hung out to this point. I know it's been a bit of a marathon, but yeah, if you're new and you liked what you saw, go ahead and check out my survival series I got going. I'm excited to get back into that. And yeah, until next time, thank you all for coming and have a good day.